So the last lesson in Unit 4 is going to be 4-8, Quadratic Systems. And this one actually should be very quick. You're going to use your graphing calculator for this entire section, and so the problems that I've assigned for you on homework should go very quickly. The only difficulty with this video is I will not be able to show you what my TI looks like, so you're going to have to rely on my verbal cues. Okay. So we're going to look at systems of quadratic equations and one linear equation. We could also have two quadratic equations as well, but I'm going to focus on a quadratic, which is a parabola with a line. So there are only three possible solutions when you have a parabola and a line. So in this particular picture, here you have a parabola intersecting with a line. They intersect in two places, here and here. So remember, when we have a system, when we had a system of two lines, the intersection of the lines was the solution. So here, when you have a parabola and a line, where they intersect here and here, those are the two solutions. So in this case, we have two solutions. Whereas in this case, this line here is intersecting with a parabola in just one place, right here, and so we would have one solution. And then finally, whoops, I can't get that I in there. Finally, you could have no place where the two graphs meet, and so it is possible to have a no solution. All right, so what I want you to do, and I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger. Okay. So we're going to solve the system by graphing. So the first thing I want you to do is go to your calculator, go to y equals, and I want you to put this in y sub 1, exactly as you see it. And then this is going to go in y sub 2. So go ahead and go to your calculator and do that. If you need to pause the video to do so, please do so. But I want you to graph specific points related to these graphs here. So if I graph this, I'm going to use my calculator. I'm going to graph the parabola. I'm going to find the max or minimum value. This particular one has a minimum value. I'm also going to find where it crosses the x-axis, because those are some important points, and the y-intercept. So for this particular one, I'm going to put the parabola in pink. So this is going to go in pink. So some of the important points, if you graph it, will end up being the graph crosses at 1, at 4. The y-intercept is at 4. And then the vertex is a decimal, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. So the sketch of this particular graph is going to look a little like this. Okay, then my line I am going to put in blue. Whoops, yeah, just this part in blue. And so this line crosses the y-axis at -1 and the x-axis at +1. And then it continues through here. And so pardon me, but I cannot draw like a super straight line on my picture here. Okay, so once you put those in the calculator, this is the viewing window, this is what you're looking at. So the place at which both of these intersect would be here, so right here and here. So those ordered pairs, this one right here would be +1, 0, and this one here would be +5, +4. So your two solutions are going to be 1, 0 and 5, 4. So you're letting the calculator do all of your work. Oh, How do we find the intersection? That would be handy to tell you. Sorry. All right, so here's the commands. I'm going to write them down for you in your calculator. So the first command, once you graph these and put them into y equals, you're going to see this on your viewing window. Okay, so sometimes this isn't obvious and you cannot use the trace button to find this. So you're going to use your calc menu. So from the graphing menu, you are going to go to second, trace, which brings you to the calc menu. Then you have several options. Because I want to find where the two lines intersect, I'm then going to choose intersect. Okay, so then once you choose intersect, it's going to put the cursor like on one of these two lines somewhere. So let's just say it puts the cursor right here. And the directions on the screen down here are going to say first line. And so you just want to make sure it's near this intersection, but not on the intersection. So then you just hit enter, and then it's going to pop the cursor onto the other line. It might pop it here or here, and it's going to say second line. And so you just want to make sure it's not sitting right here on the intersection. You want to toggle right or left to get it off here. Now toggling right or left is going to move it along these graphs this way or this way. Toggling up and down is going to move it from one line to the other. So just be careful. You want to be using the right-left toggle to move it along the line. So once you get it on the second line and it's, close to the intersection but not too far away, hit enter. And then it's going to finally say guess, and you're going to want it to guess, and then it'll put the cursor right here and it'll tell you what the ordered pairs are, and for this one it should tell you 1, 0. So practice that. Then you want to get the other intersection. So you have to do second trace, intersect again, and it's probably going to put the cursor like somewhere over here. So you have to move it to the right, so toggle right until it gets it over closer to this intersection, because it's going to find the intersection that it's closest to. And so then hit enter, and it should put it here or here on this pink line, and it'll say second line, hit enter, and then hit enter a third time for it to guess, and it should tell you it's 5, 4. So please practice that, pause the video and practice it until you are sure that you understand how to get those 2 points. Okay, so then I know that the directions here say solve by substitution, but I don't want you to do that. I want you to put this into your y equals, the first y sub 1, so clear out what you put in there before. Make sure you're putting a negative in front of the x squared and not a subtraction sign. This needs to be a subtraction sign, so this is a negative, that's a subtraction. Then this goes into the y sub 2, and you're going to hit graph. And then you want to practice these again to find your 2 intersections. So practice that again, and your solutions will be, so really today is all about using that calculator and practicing. So pause the video, but your 2 solutions should come out to be negative 5, 0 and 1, 6. All right, same thing I want you to do for 3. So I want you to pause the video, and you need to put this into y sub 1 and this into y sub 2. Now this time you have 2 quadratics. So you're going to end up with, this one is going to open up and this one is going to open down. They're probably going to intersect each other twice. But again, I don't want you using substitution. I want you to use the graphing feature on your calculator. And so use that second calc intersect, and you should get the following solutions: 0, 5 and 2, 1. So pause the video and practice that until you get those 2 solutions. So for example 4, it's more of the same. Again, I want you to use that intersect feature on your calculator. This time I'll show you what it looks like. It's this particular one, you're not going to have nice happy integers. So I'm going to go ahead and graph this first one in pink. So I'm going to put this in y sub 1. When I do that, I'm going to have the following values. I'm going to have a point at the y-intercept of 2, and about halfway between 0 and 1. I'm just estimating. And then about right about here, give or take. And then a little past the 4. So this pink one is going to look like this. Then I'm going to put the other one in blue. This one right here, it's another parabola. This one's going to open down. It crosses the x-axis at -2, and it touches the pink about, I better redraw my pink. It's probably not going to let me. It did. Yay. This one is going to be, I'm looking at my calculator, right about here. So my pink one should extend here, and then my blue one's going to go here. So that's going to be an intersection. We'll calculate that in a minute. The vertex is on the y-axis at exactly 4, and it also crosses the x-axis at 2, and then down here is the other intersection, right about here. So it looks like this. So my two intersections are going to be here and here. So use that intersect feature on your calculator, second trace, which gets you the calc menu, and then choose intersect. Your two values for the intersection should be, for this one, you're going to get -0.351. You can round that to 2 places if you want, comma 3.88. So your y is 3.88. Then this one is going to be 2.85, comma -4.13. All right. So sometimes you don't get nice happy points, and that's what's great about the calculator. It will do it for you. And that's all that you need to worry about. We are not going to do a system of inequalities at all. So you can just put an X through, find a good color, put an X right through here. We're not going to do that one. And we are not going to do the challenge problem. All right, so that was a pretty quick lesson. I only gave you a couple of problems on your homework, so practice that and have a great weekend.